So tutorial 2 is about, again, using the sketch and extrude tool, and we'll also introduce some new tools, so the mirror tool and also the chamfer tool. So I'm going to head on over to Creo. So once we've loaded up Creo, remember to set the working directory. And then also, so we go new part, relevant name, and then remember to untick default template and select millimeters. Okay, so the first thing now I'm going to do is generate the outline for this shape. So I'm going to use the sketch tool, click plane, click sketch. Let's go to sketch view. And so to generate the outline of this shape, it's going to be predominantly using the circle tool. So I'm going to start off by doing the large 60mm diameter circle. And so what I'm going to do now is use something called construction mode. So construction mode allows us to use geometry to position key features within our drawings, and they don't have any impact when we come to extrude. So this is really useful as it allows us to precisely control features, and then we know that it's not going to mess up our extrusion later on. So if we go to construction mode, use the line tool, I'm just going to add in some lines that position the holes relative to the center of this circle. So line there, come out here, press the middle mouse button and draw another line and make these equal length. So that should be 30, and then this is 50. Okay. So if I come out of construction mode now, I'm going to draw the outline for the circles around here. So use the circle tool. We can see that the outline, they have a radius of 20, so that means that their diameter is 40. So if I draw two circles, I'm going to make them equal length, so you can see snap to equal size, and then press the middle mouse button. So just change these to 40. Okay. So now to get the outline of this shape, what I need to do is basically join up these circles, and we've got a really handy tool to do that. So if we go to the line up here in the sketch toolbar and click this little drop down, there's tangent line, so line tangent. So we can use that to basically connect these circles. So if I click on this shape here and then click on this one, click on this one, this one, this one, and this one. So we can see we've got the basic outline for the shape. And what we need to do is basically remove these sketch lines, because Creo likes there to just be one continuous outline for it to extrude. Okay, so to do that we'll just go use the delete segment tool. So again, you can just click on each sketch line to delete them, or you can hold down the left mouse button and just drag a line over them. Just remember these ones at the bottom here as well. Now if I press the middle mouse button, you can see that we have a continuous line and it shades in. And so this is where the construction lines, you can see that they're really beneficial. So we've got these lines that control the position of these circles, and they don't have any impact on the extrusion, but they allow us to position these points. So that's really useful. So we're just going to click OK. And again, just use the extrusion tool. Extrude. And so the base of this part has a thickness of 18mm, and we'll just accept that. Okay, so we've got the overall shape for the base, and now what we do is we have a bit that sort of sticks up on this from this end here, and then there's a sort of a strengthening ridge that's also attached to this back bracket. So if I use the sketch tool, I'm going to to sketch on this face. And then what I'm actually going to do is add a couple of more references. So if I go to the reference tool here, this outer circle is really useful. Obviously it extends and it matches the diameter of this, so that can be useful to attach to. So you can see we've got a full circle there, and this edge here is going to be useful as well for dimensioning this support. Let's close. Okay, let's go to sketch view, and so the first thing that I'm going to do is do the circle. So use the circle tool, I'll snap to the middle of this and then snap to my reference line. So the beauty of using a reference line is that if I then go back to my previous sketch and change the diameter of this feature, it will automatically update in this sketch as well. So that means that there's associativity between each sketch. Now I'm going to go back and use the line chain tool, and so I need to add this ridge section. So I'm going to snap to my circle here and just pull up to the end there, press the middle mouse button, and again we'll do the same thing. So we want these to be equally, it's basically symmetrical, so they need to be an equal distance away from this center line. So we can see we can snap to that point there and snap there, and then we'll complete that trace. Okay, so what we need to do is actually set this distance from the center line to this line here. So click there, press Ctrl, and I've selected that middle line, so now I can set this. So the total thickness should be 12, so this should be 6. Okay, I'm just going to check that this one's the same. Yeah, that's fine. Undo. And we just click OK. No, we're not going to click OK yet. We're going to come out of dimension, the dimensioning tool, and then what we need to do is actually delete this segment here. You can see that it's not shaded, so if I tried to extrude it, it wouldn't work at the moment. So I just close delete, and we delete those two there. And now I have a shaded region, and we click OK. So this bit I need to use the Extrude tool, and so the overall height of this component is 70, but we already have 18 here. We have 18 mils here. So what I'm going to do is, you can actually write simple equations into simple sums into this dialog box. So if I do 70 minus 18, it will calculate it for us. It just means we can be lazy and not calculate it using our brains. Just click it there. Okay, so we've near enough got the basic shape completed. All I need to do is cut off a bit of material here. So this is actually a slope rather than this big chunk of material. So if I use a sketch tool, I'm going to sketch on this plane. So like I said, when we have a 3D shape, we can sketch on in any plane, and so we're going to sketch on this one. And what I'm going to do is use the reference tool and highlight some of these edges. So I want this edge here. Sometimes it can be quite difficult to pick up edges. What you can do is come down to this little dialog box here, and this basically tells you what your pointer will pick up. So you can tell it explicitly you only want to highlight edges. So if I click there, click on that edge, see, can we get on that edge there, and that one's already highlighted for us. Close, and then what I'm going to do is use the line tool. So using these reference points from here to here to here to here, middle mouse again, so you can see that I've got this shape and it's linked to the geometry that's there, so any changes and it will automatically update it. Click OK, and then we'll use the Extrude Tool and we'll just flip it the other way. It automatically knows to remove that material, and what we will do is tell it to go through all material. Okay, so there's our basic shape. Now what we need to do is add the holes. So first of all, I'll add the hole that goes through this shape here, this one here. So go sketch, sketch on this surface, and we go let's go to sketch view. Use the circle tool, click on the center, let's drag it out, and so this hole needs to be 40. Okay, and then again we'll use the Extrude Tool. We don't want to add material, we want to remove it, so let's take it the other direction, and we want it to go all the way through. So we're happy with that. And so now what I'm going to do is add one of the holes to this face here. So if I go sketch, just there. And what I'm going to do again is use this reference tool to pick up this circular feature. So we can see we've got the center point there now, so that will make it really easy for me drawing my circle. Okay, so that should be 20. Okay, and then we'll extrude, go the other way, make it go all the way through. Okay, so you might be asking, oh, why didn't you do both of the holes on that sketch? You can do it that way, but I'm going to show you another way which can be useful for doing this. So what I'm actually going to do is, if you have a look in the drawing, there's actually some chamfer lines there. They're not specified, so they're just really there to break the edges, and so you wouldn't, if you made this part so that there's no sharp edges and you wouldn't hurt yourself on it. So there's actually a tool within Creo that allows us to chamfer edges, so let's just take off that sharp corner. So if we click on the chamfer tool, we can set a chamfer size. So what I'm going to do is just type 1.5 in here, and then what you do is you select the edge that you would like to chamfer. So let's, on this circle, let's chamfer that one, and then if you press Control, you can select another set of edges there, and so that looks pretty good to me. I'll just click OK. So now this is where I'm going to show you how to use a new tool, so the mirror tool. So because this is symmetrical, what we can do is say that we want this feature but on this side of the component. And so to do that, what you need to do is you come to the model tree and you highlight, so you can highlight the hole, but you can also highlight the chamfer as well. So we can, if you just by pressing Control, you can highlight both of those, and then you can see that the mirror tool is now highlighted. So if you click on the mirror tool, now it will just ask you for a mirror plane. So we can see here that we've got this plane that runs in the middle of our component. So if I click on that, you'll see that it puts a representation of the hole that's mirrored there. And if I accept that, see that it's done it for me. Okay, so that can be quite a quick way of copying quite complicated features, because I copied the hole and the chamfer at the same time. So finally, I'm just going to go around and add some more chamfers to this part. So we use 1.5 for here, so let's do this corner. Press Control, do this one here. Okay, and then what we can also do is add chamfers to all the other corners. So if I go chamfer, let's make it so these are a little bit smaller, so 1 mil. And then what we can do is, if we click on that edge there, so that's doing the top, this bottom edge here, so press Control there, and you'll see what it does is it just looks for continuous lines and basically applies it to all of them. We can do it here, so just press Control again to add another section, and then Control again, just there. So they're all the same size. So we can change them if we wanted to. So to 2, I think 2 is a bit big, so we'll just leave it at 1. Okay. So that's basically all you need to do for tutorial 2. Again, remember to save our files, we'll just go File, Save. The file name's already there, so all we need to do is press OK. And that's the file saved.